Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Pharmacist Ezekiel, and we are live again discussing. We are live again to discuss a very interesting topic. Um, I hope we are ready. We are prepared because we came prepared for you too. So today we have a very interesting topic, which is hospital conflicts, patients versus health workers. Many times we go to the hospital and there are one or two reasons why we have to disagree. And today, hospital complex is wide, but we are trying to see how we can streamline it to the to the to the closest possible relatable state that it should be. So um, we are going to see. We have our guest with us anyway. We have Choma with us to help discuss this topic. We hope all of our guests are going to be with us before the end of the show. Um, so, Choma, let me just ask you a question. Have you ever had any case to witness, or maybe that is directly related to you, maybe a relative or a friend, or you witness it in a hospital between a patient and a health professional?
Yeah, good evening. Yes, I've had personal cases. I've also witnessed some of others that are not familiar to me, right? For me, it was a case of, when you are the patient, it's either you choose to be calm because you know that you actually need these people for care and just
Yeah,
ignore whatever attitude they are bringing, whatever complaints you're getting. You just
yeah,
ignore. For my case, it was almost like constant murmuring, complaining, and all of that.
yeah,
I knew if it was somebody, maybe somebody who had temper issues, it would have
yeah,
been enough to flare up and create a scene in the hospital.
yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
I've had to.
So you feel that um yours is just murmurings and little shaking your shoulder a little bit. You have never
Yeah,
experienced
murmuring.
you've never experienced anyone fighting, any patient fighting a nurse or fighting a doctor or
Uh-uh.
fighting the staff.
Your own care giver.
Okay,
It's
okay,
not
that's true. Anyway,
right.
okay, I think we have Dr. Hope with us. Let's see if he can share us any experience of conflicts. What causes conflict? Let him share an experience. If you have an experience, we just hear from you. But if you don't have, we can now start analyzing the causes of all of these conflicts in the hospital. Dr. Hope.
Yeah, good evening, my beloved listeners. Good evening from Ezekiel. Good evening, Mrs. Choma Efebuka, my fellow host. Happy to be here this evening. So
Yeah,
viewers,
welcome.
as you heard, my name is Dr. Oponimechi, and this evening we're talking about conflicts in the hospital. Well, I think I've actually had certain experiences. I remember during my internship days when I was, in fact, I had to write a book on it because of the too many conflicts we had.
Oh, you
I
wrote a
remember.
book.
Yes,
Are
on
you
it.
serious? I've not heard
Just
of
a
that. What's the name of the
small.
book?
It's part
Is it more
of.
like a
It's part of. Not really a book per se, an article on it. Let me put it that way.
okay, okay,
And it
okay,
was featured as part of Edo State YPG magazine. There was a
okay,
page allotted to it. My internship
okay.
experience. Now, what happened was very simple. When I got to the hospital, we were given orientation, and the first thing they told us, where I was first posted to NHIS, and when we got to NHIS, the first instruction we received is that on no account, no matter what happens, should you fight with a patient. In my head, I was
Yeah,
like, what?
that's true.
Fight a patient? Why? Why would I even fight a patient? With all the training I've received, am I mad? Somebody I'm supposed to be taking care of. And lo and behold, just that morning, after our HOD gave the instruction, she stepped out and somebody brought a prescription. After vetting it, I noticed an error on it. And I was like, hey, ma, please, can you go back to the doctor? I wrote something behind, which is the proper thing. Can you please go back to the doctor and give it to me? Immediately I heard, you are very stupid. You are a mad person. Do you know how long I was spent in this hospital? You are a very foolish person. I will slap you, you idiot. Then another person from the crowd. Now so they do foolish people. It was not an easy. Like if I was a very hot tempered person, the first thing like Mrs. Choma said I would have done was exchange was I used to why will you call me that I'm stupid? Do you know me? Do you know I'm a doctor? You know all those kind of things. But
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
able because of the orientation. I wanted to talk. Immediately my mind flashed back to the first commandment on no account should you talk back or
yeah,
retaliate when so I quickly coordinated myself. I was like, "Ma'am, sorry, it's not my fault." She said, "Do you know how long I've been waiting in this hospital? You are very wicked and stupid." Then that was just one. I remember another scenario when I asked the patient was supposed to go and pay 30 naira because NHIS price is 30 is 10%. The patient's bill
yeah,
was 300 naira. He was supposed to go and pay 30 naira.
yeah.
Somehow the person mistakenly billed him, was it 16 naira or how much? And the patient came because of in my good nature. I wanted to be nice and I told the patient that he was overbilled. My brother, I regretted that action that day. The patient came down for me. I was not looking like the wicked person. See, you are thieves, all of you are thieves. Eh? You want to steal my 13 naira? Do you know how hard I work to get because you people are not oh you are a thief. You people are like sometimes they even come and they ask you, do you have this medication? You check and you tell them we don't have it. They say, you people are very wicked. You don't want to give me my drugs. I know it's there. Thief, you people, well, that's how people used to hold drugs. So a lot of these things we see them, but the truth is that it all boils down. There are sometimes that just your professional training alone will not be enough to
Yes, that's true.
convince you.
That's true.
You need
That's
super moral and spiritual training to comport yourself in front of patients and other healthcare professionals. I've had
yeah,
a scenario too with a nurse who attempted to slap me in the hospital. It
wow.
wasn't funny
Enough.
that
I
a
think
nurse, yeah.
the most frequent of those are doctors that are very, very
Doctor.
volatile, but I've never heard of the
So
case of a nurse.
So I thought too, my case was unique. It was actually taken up even up to the CMD. It was serious. What happened? He brought, it was a male nurse. He brought a prescription, a folder for me to attend to. And I was the only one working on night duty that day in accident and emergency ward. And I had like 15 folders to attend to. So he was even making a call in front of me. And I was like, please, just hold on. Let me finish with this one. He kept hitting this thing. My friend, do this thing. Let me get out. So I ignored him and I was doing what I was doing. I was attending to the one that came first. Immediately drop call. Are you mad? You want to keep me here? And he brought out his hand about to slap me. Immediately I dodged it. And when he brought out punch again to do, I picked up our dispensing tray and I was about to hit him. It was that bad. It was
Wow.
see, it was a defense, it was defense. If anything had happened that day, I would have been able to hold on to the fact that I was defending myself. It was self-defense. I didn't really want to hit him, but I just had to protect myself. I just knew I had to do something. My instincts told me to quickly pick it up. But later, when they were now sorting it, I now discovered they were not sorting it anymore um as should I call it assault. It was now a case of two fighting because the question was now
That's
like,
very bad. Yeah.
why would you pick up something? So it's a common phenomenon that happens in our hospital, and I'm happy
Yeah.
we are bringing it this evening. I think it's something that
Dr. Hope, this your case is quite very, very interesting because sometimes when you're in the hospital, you mentioned something and you said you need more than your professional training to resist all of these issues, and it
exactly
is true. I can assure you it is true because sometimes some patients are so aggressive that you don't even know what's making them angry. Is maybe they are waiting time, maybe they are problem in the home, maybe they just received the call. Because someone like me, I'm always smiling when I'm in the office. I'm always laughing. I'm always talking. Even my patients when they are in front of me, when I'm interacting with anybody, any patient at all, I just try to look for something to make them laugh. Ah, mama, this your name is Longo. Ah, mama, this your prescription drug, eh? We don't find out, we don't see out for this country at all. We need to travel. You understand? Those kind of things will make them laugh. Hey, my picky days, I go bring and come out. Stuff like that. But there are some patients that you just come in, they are squeezing their face, and they're like, ah, mama, good afternoon. Hey, what it be your own? What it be your own? I beg, do this, my prescription, make her come out. So
I'm telling you.
they are quite very hostile. They just attack you as if they know you from somewhere, and you are owing them money or something like that. So I want to know. I don't know, Choma. Choma, I think you have been a patient before. What do you think is the cause? If you can mention just one cause, at least let our audience know what causes this hostility between patients and health workers? Because we are the ones giving you the health. We are trying to maintain your health. We are trying to give you drugs to make you feel better. But all of a sudden, you are tearing it out on us. So let us know what you think.
I think a lot of patients needs to be sensitized as regards the reasons why you have to go through all these processes before you see the doctor. Because it takes time. You have to wait on this queue. When you're done with this queue, you wait on
Yeah,
another queue.
yeah,
At the
yeah, yeah.
time you get to the final spot where you're supposed to meet the doctor, you're already tense. The doctor says any rubbish.
You
You
are ready to
understand?
slap the doctor.
So maybe like a notice, like on the board at the entrance of your hospital, saying start from here to here to here to here. So they will know that okay, this is the roadmap on how to see the doctor, and they just follow it. That way they know okay, this is what they have to go. When you go to nurse station and then you are waiting on the queue, it's like this one was wasting their time. You understand?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let me ask. Thank you for that information. I think, but let me ask Dr. Hope. Dr. Hope, who do you think is more assaulted more? The doctors by patient, the doctors, the nurses, or the pharmacists? Who do you think is more assaulted more by the patient?
Before I got to the hospital, I always had the notion that it's the doctors. And then I started in the hospital and I found out for a moment it was looking like it's the nurses. But ladies and gentlemen, after my 1 year internship program, I found out it is the pharmacist. A patient has dragged my thigh to suffocate me. Honestly. Why?
Why will the pharmacists are the ones that have your drugs? So
You know
why
why?
do you think? Okay.
The reason is simple. We are the last people they see before they leave the hospital. And it's
Okay.
like
Yeah.
transferred aggression from all the lab, the nurses section. And I think another thing that causes it is attitudinal problem on part of some professionals. I would also blame myself. When I mean professionals, I'm not calling any particular profession, including myself, that is a healthcare professional. Now, let me give an example. Patient A comes into the
Yeah.
hospital and comes and is greeting someone, good morning, sir. Abeg, na where I go for go make I see doctor? I no know, madam, go there, go ask them, no need disturb me. That's the first response he or she gets. This is an elderly person we're talking about, and he or she manages to navigate their way down to the lobby where they see other people waiting. Some don't even know why people are waiting, they just go and sit. I've seen a situation whereby a woman came to the hospital, sat down till about 3 p.m. I was going to have breakfast, and I passed her. I greeted her. Hey, my pikin, though. She didn't say anything. I went, I ate, I went back. I stayed, though. It was afternoon, lunch break. I said, let me take a walk and stretch myself because of the heavy nature of ethic work I had done. I passed the guy, I saw this woman, and she was very
Okay.
patient. She was listening. I had to stop by, and it was to 3 by then. Good evening, ma. Ma, please, oh, I hope they have attended to you. My pikin, now, yeah, I sit down this morning. Nobody don't talk to me. Oh.
Are
And
you
I was
serious?
like, I'm telling you, I was like, what? What did you come for? He said, they give me medicine the other day. They said, I come 2 weeks' time, but they don't tell me where I'll come. I was like, can I see the medicine? And I discovered she was even in the wrong department to start with. She was supposed to go to the eye clinic. She was sitting in
Oh.
GPC. Do
Oh.
you get? Like it was
Yeah.
totally out of hand. I told her, but man, when you come, nobody carry you come hospital. She said no. That her son was so busy, just came to drop her off and hoping that she'll be able to navigate her way and drove off. That he said he will come and pick her back by 4. When she's done, she should call him. And I said, what about the people around? She said she has asked 3 different people, and the responses were as good as she should mind her business. That she
Wow.
asked the person was like, madam, na today you dey come hospital, abeg no dey disturb me, no carry your own dey disturb me. The second person was even worse. The second person, she asked the person, madam, where you see say your mate sit down so? Say na here, you sit down there too. So and the last
Wow.
person was the one that turned her off totally. The last person, she came, please, my pikin, I don sit down here, I never hear my name. Say, madam, at you see as other people sit down, na the same thing dem dey wait for. Wait, when you hear your name, you come, no disturb me. Person left. Not even, madam, can I see your card at least? To be sure that you're even on the right place or
So
to
so
start
so
with.
the professionals are to blame in that case.
In that case, yes, I actually, so it's a shared blame. The patients have their own blame in the sense that they don't understand that protocols, like Mrs. Choma rightly said, have to be followed. And I think the professionals too, because I think there should be somebody in the hospital whose duty. Some hospital actually have that. I've gone to a private hospital that has somebody from the gate that will tell you, "Good morning, who are you here to see?" Say, "Okay, I came last week." The person will first thoroughly check your card to be even sure that that day is actually your appointment day. Before the person will not tell
Yeah.
you, "Okay, madam, na here you go go." When you go there, there is another person standing there. "Good morning, ma. Ma, see your this thing." The person will confirm, "Okay, you're in the right place." Tear a paper and give you bearing number. This one happened when I took my mom there. It was very organized, and I was like, imagine people now that don't have this opportunity to come to places like this. They have to go and queue in government hospitals. It's not funny. Like, I think it's a shared blame actually. The
For
patients,
sure.
one, and two, the which is 90%. In fact, we the professionals have the 90% blame. The patients, I can give them 10. But you see, the health professionals, most of us, I can understand the work can be overwhelming sometimes, but I think most times we have very, very bad attitude that some of us bring to our workplace. The way you
Yeah.
respond to people, a simple good morning can change, like you rightly
Their
said, that
mood.
you
Yeah.
smile, a simple
Can
smile,
change
good
their
morning,
mood. Yes.
can
Yes.
change their mood. But you just see some people, somebody is in front of you, you're even taking a call, and the person is like, "My pikin, abeg, madam, you know, say I dey make call, abeg, no disturb me." And then it's more like your call is more important at that moment, and the person is already pissed off from
Yeah.
the other place he or she is coming from, and you are pissing the person more. And this is somebody that, for example, a pharmacist in my own unit now. Imagine that I'm the last person. Somebody has gone through that stress in that woman's case. Imagine she finally manages to navigate her way by 3 p.m. and is coming to my desk by 3:38 p.m. And in most cases, those I did in Abakaliki, and most times the patients we have, especially in HIV clinic and all that, are people that come from other states to access care. So imagine somebody that came from Cross River State and is bent on leaving because they don't know anybody there. So their own is, let me come and pick up my drug and go back. The person is already vexed with the fact that they delayed him or her till 3:38 or 3:50 p.m. And he or she has to go back to Cross River that same state. And it's coming to your desk and you're like, madam, did you, I better wait outside until I call you. There are ways you can put this thing. And then there's a final thing that always happens when you eventually try to want to tell them how to go about those drugs. And madam, this one you take, give me, no be your time, now be the doctor right now. No disturb me, I don't late. In that case, as a pharmacist, you have a very big role to play in
Wow,
calming the patient down.
that's a lot.
You
Yeah.
have to calm the patient down that, "Madam, calm down. If I give you this thing wrongly." But I've heard a colleague of mine say, "Madam, shut up, man, I tell you this thing. Now me be the pharmacist. Now me will tell you how it is. You not be the other way around."
What are we? What are we saying? Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, if I'm
I
the
can
patient in
hear
that
you.
situation, I will
Okay.
slap you before collecting the drug. Then some cases, sef, I've seen patients that after slapping the person, they will throw the drug and say, "In fact, eat am. It is they're happy." The truth is that these patients, most of them are not happy consuming this drug. They are spending a lot, and it's biting on them. Some just come
Yeah.
to the hospital and they are
That's
vexed for
true.
no reason. Because if you have ever had a patient in the hospital that spends money on chronic ailments, you will know where the aggression is coming from. Imagine coming to the hospital. There was one that was angry that she was billed for a drug she already had in GPC clinic, GOPD clinic when I was there. After she came, so I devised a means and advised our HOD that if these patients come, we should ask them for their previous medications, how far gone. Let's see them
Yeah.
before giving.
Yeah.
And when we
Yeah.
started, it calmed the storm a lot. Because imagine a patient coming, he already has a pack of Downy. Thank God you're a pharmacist. You know how expensive such drugs, branded drugs are, or glucophage,
Yeah.
1 gram. And you, the
Yeah.
patient come and you look at the position, glucophage, you cost after costing 42,000, madam, take go pay. The person is like, "Hey, fam, man, madam, go pay, no disturb me, no be only you there." And the person walks out and struggles. You don't even know how the person is getting that money. Most of them are civil servants. The person goes to pay and comes back, and you bring out the drug. "Madam, this one, 3 times a day. Madam, this one, morning, afternoon." And the person is like, "I get this one before, now I won't tell you." Why you no first tell me now? It happens a
Ah,
lot.
no.
So these are
If I'm that patient, I will owe you. You will give me that money back. No, it's not. It's
the
not done. You
That's
will
the
give
thing.
it
So
an
you don't
offer.
blame them most times. That's why I say 90% is on we, the professionals. We
Yeah.
do little, we have a whole lot of responsibility on our shoulders, a role to
Yeah.
perform in the aspect of patient education. And the education, we were taught triage when we came to the hospital. The first thing we were educated on was triage. And what does triage entails? If you have 10 cases at hand and you are the only person there and you are in a situation whereby you have to make decisions hastily, you should treat them according to the most important ones. So if you have
Yeah.
somebody in pain, one, and you have somebody that is looking like he or she is almost not breathing, and you have somebody that his hand is looking like he or it will cut off, you treat them in order of priority. Somebody is there almost not breathing, means that the person can pass out any moment from that time. So you have to first of all see how to resuscitate such a person. Then you look at the one whose hand is cutting and try to help. The one that is in pain is shouting because he or she is still alive.
That's true.
That's it.
That's true. So
So if you
so
skip
so
that person and go to the other one, it's a problem. And that's
yeah,
what
that's
makes it.
all right. So
And
thank you
sorry,
very much. Yeah. Okay.
one last thing, that something that I know triggers patients to do, still on professionals, is lack of ethics. One, two, over ethics. Two. Now I will explain two of them. Lack of ethics means, for example, somebody comes and you know deep down in you are supposed to attend to this patient, and your auntie comes, even though your emotional judgment wants to tell you I have to attend to my auntie to live here, your professional sense, ethics should tell you that you should follow a first confess serve base. Or even if you want to attend to your auntie because of any of her condition,
Hello.
and ethics and person is
Hello, Doctor. Hope we lost you there.
Narcissist
Hello.
decks. The person will just
Okay.
pick the person's this without even an apology or explanation. And say, madam, come. The next thing somebody say, but I there for you. Madam, I beg, keep quiet. Not be only you there for you. You get, that's lack of ethics. Now, on over ethics, some of us want to follow the rule to the end, like we are the now our papa na him creates the guideline wey dem take train us for pharmacy school. Like if you miss one rule, like it's cast on stone, like if you miss it you die. How do I mean? Yes, it is written that okay, first confess serve, that's the hospital policy, but then some of your judgment, sometimes you have to employ your own emotional intelligence. You see somebody that is elderly comes to you, my pikin, abeg no vex o, I no dey fit stand for long o, and you know there are no seats there. Abeg, you fit just help me, make you just help me customer I dey go. The best thing you can do as a professional in that scenario, my people una good morning o, or the next person, please madam abeg, this person e no dey fit stand, e get leg problem, see abeg make I just quick at ten d to am make e comot. A simple thing like that. Most patients can be nice. I've tried it and they will just tell you no wahala, no wahala, no wahala. They will even be the one to baba don't worry. I've seen a patient collect a fellow patient's this thing and went to go and pay on their behalf. You get, so they
Yeah.
can be that nice. You don't just have to rule them out. So these two things, they're actually very important in dealing with patients. You have to be very smart and very, very, very ethical in dealing with them. And secondly, you have to be very careful not to be over, or should I use the word overly righteous. You want to follow rules stricto sensu. You want to follow it to the core without even thinking about how people will feel. So that's it.
Yeah. It's all right. Thank you
Yeah,
very
but I
much,
have
Doctor
something
Hope.
to say, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Michelle.
But don't you think that the attitude issues times is usually in government hospitals where you have crowds? Don't you think that there's a shortage of staffing problem? Do you get? I feel
There's a
like if
shortage
they
of what?
had more
More staff?
professionals who attend to patients, there'll be less pressure and more friendliness. Because most times you don't get to see these attitudes in private hospitals where they don't attend to so much patients and they have
No, no.
staff.
Yeah, I think patients still wait in private hospitals. I've used a few private hospitals, and you still have to join the queue, and sometimes up to number 30, number 40, which is not something that different in public hospitals.
it's very different because for public hospitals, you'll be getting
Okay.
all those 200 and something, 300, those
Okay.
kind of numbers, especially when you are going to what they call that front desk now. You're just registering for the first time,
Okay.
or
Okay.
when they have to look for your file.
Okay. That's in
So
the record.
everybody's,
Yeah.
yes, records. So I
Okay.
think part of the problem is the staffing problem. If they had more staff, there'll be less pressure on the hospital staff. And most
Okay.
times, when people are under pressure, you get to see the worst of them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, what I want to ask now, before you quickly chip in your point, your point is actually very valid. You know, many persons, with the more the workload, the more the time they wait, the more both of them are irritated. The doctor that is actually calm, that has not eaten in the morning, just resumed early and is trying to walk before he goes take his breakfast. When the pressure is much, he may tend to flare up easily, and the patient that has been waiting for too long will also flare up easily, and both of them meet, and then we have what we call hospital conflict, especially as regards patients and health professionals. But I want to ask you, Choma, what if you are a health professional? If a patient wants to hit you, a patient is carrying a bottle and say, "I will break your head, you this woman," what will you do? And what should be done? What would you advise if you were a health professional? Because I know you are not anyway, but I just want you to know what is as a patient, what is in your mind, what's going on in your mind if you are in the doctor's position or the pharmacist position or the nurse's position when the patient wants to
What I would
assault.
do,
Yeah.
I would walk away.
What if you cannot walk away? You're in your office, somebody's at the door with bottle.
Ah, I will find a way to just leave that place because I can't stay there. If you are with boss, so you can kill me. I will just find a way to leave the place. See, I've had that
And
experience where I
there's
work
no way
before.
out.
No, there has to be a way. I think when I'm even very small, I will stick under your hand. See, there was a
Okay.
time where I had this issue in my current place of work, right? It was very, very bad. It was a situation of verbal abuse. I had not even met this person. I was just walking in when I heard something like, what you say, it is this idiot. I just looked at her, picked up what I came to pick, and walked away because I knew that if I had stayed there, it will make the woman want to talk more. You understand? And it will not help the situation at all. So it's better when the person is explaining to a random person. If that patient is explaining to maybe another nurse, she'll be able to control her temper and they'll be able to calm her down, right? But if she keeps seeing this particular person that she thinks is the cause of her problem, she
Yeah.
won't calm down. So the best way is to just leave.
Okay. Okay. Now the truth is, I have had an experience like that. Honestly, not me, but a colleague of mine. Now that guy is a very. If you see this pharmacist, is a very chubby, big, chesty guy. But somehow you find this patient that is smallish, hitting him with her shoe. So she hits this tall pharmacist with her shoe, and what this pharmacist did was he just quickly there's a way he bent her hand. There's a way he bent her hand in a unique way, and pick up the shoe from her. Carried this patient with his two hands, like was able to lift
Taekwondo.
out. He was able to lift out, carry his patient with his two hands outside the hospital, like not even the pharmacy unit. Took her out of that unit
Ah,
entirely
ah, ah.
and dropped her there. So when he dropped her on the ground, the patient realized that wow, if he was lucky that this guy is on duty. If not, he would have manhandled her. So 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 what I would advise my fellow pharmacy colleagues is learn self-defense techniques because some patients are not well. They are really not well.
Exactly.
They are mentally not okay.
Exactly. Some
Patient
of
can
them
a
are
patient
follow.
can Yes, oncolos, they can come and let's say they are just with a knife. What is a patient doing with a knife in a hospital for God's sake? What is the patient doing with all this nail
A
cutter?
psychiatric patient. Now
I've
you
seen a
want
patient
follow
that
the
that
negotiate.
has nail
Hmm.
cutter. This nail cutter for cutting nails, fingernails. There's a knife part of that nail cutter. Brought it out and I was threatening a pharmacist. So even in community practice, this is not just in a hospital setting, although our topic is streamlined to hospital. Even in pharmacy where you're selling, people will attack you. So just learn self-defense. And I think a friend was telling me that the reason, for example, we are talking about UBTH now. The reason that there's a police station inside the UBTH is because of cases like this, so that the doctors can quickly call the police to come to their aid. And yes, I have experienced more than once where the police in the UBTH has been swung into action to come and rescue the doctors or the nurses from the hands of a patient. Because they will just get in. They will either blame the doctor for killing their relative, they either blame the pharmacist for not attending very well, they either blame the nurse for being slow, and then they start doing all sorts of things. And as a health professional, that's what we're going to talk about last before we leave. It is wrong for you to hit a patient. It is wrong for you to hit one another. So if somebody hits you, Dr. Hope, if somebody hits you first, let your viewers know now. If somebody hits you first, what will you do? I know you want to go spiritual and say the moral part of life.
Okay.
What will you do when somebody hits you in a hospital setting?
You know me to thank God. I'm always going to start from the spiritual to the physical realm. Now let's go to spiritual. What would Jesus have done? The Bible says in Matthew, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. Being wise as a serpent entails a lot. I like the fact that Mrs. Choma said she will run, but think of a situation. We don't pray. The Lord's Prayer, I started understanding it when I became a pharmacist. That when you say, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. It's a very serious prayer. Most of us just, if that's the only prayer you say every day before you leave your house, it's very important.
Yeah.
Because pray that you don't enter temptation. Have you seen some evil patients that are worried and possessed? I've seen a patient that she was possessed. It's not whining. Possessed. Don't go try psychiatric patient. Somebody come hospital to come, you dey see prescription, they write carbamazepine, chlorpromazine, this thing together, flumazenine, what's it called, nitrazepam. Your sense did not tell you that this one is not normal, oncolos. Some of those people were on drugs and they are currently on rehabilitation. So you now want to go and be going calm person with that kind of person. Don't try it. If you can run, like Mrs. Choma said, run. If you cannot run, if I look say na me and you, defense mechanism is important. I was very happy when you mentioned it. I was there exactly. No go try psychiatric patient they believe say God go save me or I'm following hospital ethics. Like I always say, every organization there is nothing cast on stone. That day that guy did that thing, imagine he was with a harmful weapon. I wanted to hit me and I brought out tray to defend myself. Somebody will now say, why you bring out tray? What if you had injured him? The question is not really what if you had. The question is what if I had died there? The hospital will light candle for me round the hospital once when I remember Dr. Water. That's it. Or do condolence visit to my family. It's finished. So you have to find a way to defend yourself first. There's a way they used to say it in my place. No come because say you won't come in this scenario. You now turn to the patient. I used to joke with my colleagues sometimes when I'm working in the unit. I'll be like, I beg, protect yourself. I know if you do patient relative, follow person. Because at that point, it's me that will turn patient relative when you are the victim. So the thing is, if you are in that kind of scenario, you have to try everything to protect yourself. That's one. And then two, silence is golden. The truth is that 60% of the conflicts in the hospital is as a result of what people say, not even what they do. Intent, what you just say. Do you know sometimes something as little as keeping quiet or sorry would have averted a lot of conflict you see in the hospital.
Yes, that's
true.
That's
I've been opportuned and privileged to stand and witness some kind of fight from the beginning. Something that will end up as train blue and tantrum. I've seen doctors, these are not even doctor patient, doctor train blue. And do you know what started it? Words, mere words. The other doctor of the patient brought, I think, his wife or his mother to the hospital. And the other guy wrote something. He was trying to tell him that this thing you wrote, this and that. The other guy was like, oh, guy, you are in my territory. You cannot come and be telling me what I will do. And he was like, me, I'm a doctor today. The other guy was like, to hell with you. You are in my, that kind of thing. So I think
doctors. That's
I was surprised. That's the best of its kind I've ever seen. And I discovered that this thing is something that, in fact, funny, you know why it was funny? I was the middleman. They brought the prescription. The guy came. Please, can I see that prescription? I was like, sir, we don't hand this thing to patients. He was like, I'm not just a patient. I'm a medical doctor. He brought out his ID card. I was like, okay, exceptional. I gave it to him. He looked at it. He was like, what's this guy writing? This young man. And I perceive in that case, the person that wrote it was a house officer. So he was already a senior, I think, reg or something. So he was trying to normal senior colleague matter now. But that guy
Yeah.
felt I'm in my zone. You cannot come and be telling me what to do. So it was
What to
a
do?
case
Yeah.
of middleman thing until the guy said, in fact, let me even see that foolish person. Do you get?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, somebody that was close to that one was there. So that one now told you, imagine this guy say you see where wisdom is profitable. A
Yeah.
simple explanation, or that's why I said what you say in times of when people are vexed. Understand that most of these people are not normal. I've related with psychiatric patients. Patients are mad though, and we laugh very well in the hospital. If you see me, you even think me I'm the mad person. The way we play along with them. Because you have to do everything to get them to leave. Some of them will just go, my God, okay. How far am I deal with this one? They will carry a full cup of vitamin C. Ma deal with this one, I'm take the C front. You will just see laugh. No worry, ma give you some more inside. You be correct guy, you be correct guy. If in that situation you say no, there's something my father told me. He said, if you can buy peace, buy it. Because in the long run, it's always cheaper than war. Imagine I say, now no, they cause problem. Imagine I say, oh, well, drop that thing, Joe. Nonsense. Wait till you know, say you carry. Give you waiting. You the man, your power. That person can pick up anything, scatter my head, and go free. What they will just say is, you know, listen as a psychiatric patient. Nah, he did it out of ignorance. But then the simple answer, even Bible said it that a soft answer turns what? Turns away wrath. I think
Yeah.
we should all learn how to be emotionally intelligent. It is very important in this line of our work. You have to know how to answer people. No matter their response or their pattern, you can't be doing basketballs. Somebody just talk, you just say, somebody just come. Now, so now they do for you, now be stupid people. Madam, now your papa be stupid person. Now your husband for us be stupid. I've seen professionals do that. You don't do that. All of them are stupid people, madam. If these two people now can't do mistake now, can't go give you poison instead of this, how you feel? I've used funny things to change some patient, very vexed patient too. My rule is that you cannot enter my office and leave the same way you came in. You are vexed, you came into my office. I must find one thing and hold you down. Sometimes I'll just tell you, you know, say vex no even fit you. How can a fine woman like you just be frowning your face? Do you know how people die of wrinkles? Do you know how many people get old? You just find something little to just do. A patient has come into my office and lit up cigarettes to smoke. No be joke. While I was
Wow.
in HIV clinic. Yes. Lit up cigarettes. And it was out of frustration. He lit a cigarette to smoke. Normal, what any of my colleagues or somebody else that was overly spiritual or something would have done. What? In this office? Are you mad? Do you realize you're in the hospital? But I just laugh. I say, bros, now wow, you all they enjoy this hot afternoon. It was like, my guy, wait till I go your do now. I was like, I for your join you like this. So he laughed. He said, you the both too. I can't laugh. I said, I'm not really sure. But you know, say this place guy. I just started in a very funny way. The guy did not even know when he put the thing down, put it off, and we are still laughing and talking as guy men. When he was
Yeah.
now leaving, you be correct guy, you be correct guy. Man, get your number now. I go to allow you once one. And I gave him. You get simple things
Yeah.
like that. You can just use it to just distract people. You don't always have to, like I said before in my first thing, you don't always have to be over ethical. You want to be the one that will follow you. Madam, we don't eat here. I've seen somebody telling a patient, the patient was eating, Madam, are you mad? You don't know this is the hospital. We don't eat here. What's your problem? And you expect the person not to insult you back. Now you they buy the drug and you they give am the medicine free. So that's the thing.
It's all right. It's all right. Thank you very much, Doctor Hope. I think the major idea here is diplomacy and have what you call discretion on how to handle matters, on how to, and it all boils down to being a leader. As a health professional, you have to be a leader. You have to know how to lead not just your patients but your fellow health professionals, so that you don't run into violent conflict. So we have come to the end of the show. Thank you. I think one of our comments that we have, somebody said, I think that was when I asked that question. Somebody was concurring with Mr. Chairman. Say, Ron, no, I think I pinned that on our chat. Thank you very much for your comment.
Exactly. Run as far as your leg can carry you.
So just run. So Chairman had said that because she's small, she can escape. What of professionals like like us that are big. Abi, am I big?
I'm telling you, people like me that cannot even pass through the door.
It's all right. It's all right. So we'll just take final comments from every one of us before we call it a day. So, Mr. Choma, can you give us your final comments for the session?
Okay. For this session, I would like to say that as much as we want patients to be well behaved in hospitals, we should also consider the health professionals as well. Make their working condition as perfect as possible. Make their salaries, everything, just make them comfortable enough to love their jobs. Because when they love their jobs, they will do anything to keep it. And you know that in as much as we are saying patients are overreacting and all of that, we know that just like Dr. Hope said, when it happens, it will be a case of two fighting, and the health professional might be on the way out, and the patients will always return to that hospital. Nothing will happen, so that there will be a balance between both parties. And then, secondly, I also want the health professionals to, since you know the kind of environment where you work and things that have tendencies to happen, you should also be proactive. Know when arguments are getting heated and start shifting back little by little so that you can find a way to escape when you can no longer handle it. So that'll be all for me for now.
All right. So we should know when arguments are ensuring. You also advise that we that employers should employ more hands and then compensate health professionals very well. I think that's the reason why doctors almost are always going on strike anyway. So, Dr. Hope, what's your comments for our listeners?
Okay, my final comments. Let the poor breathe. Don't suffocate. Professional,
Let
we have
patience
that
breathe.
responsibility. We have
So
that
who is the poor here?
responsibility.
The pharmacist, the doctor, the nurse, or the patient?
Patience in the first place. The truth is that most of the people, like I said before, that are coming to the hospital, they are not normal. In fact, for
Okay.
somebody to be a patient, it first shows there is a malfunction or dysfunction in one part of his or her body. You are not sure which part. So when you are
Yeah.
attending to the person, be very diplomatic and sensible. Just try to use your diplomacy, your discretion, and your emotional intelligence. Empathize with people. When somebody comes and is telling you, I've been in this hospital since my early worker, don't go and be the type that will say, Madam, no be only you dey come hospital. Know when to be empathetic, like, wow, madam, na so e dey be. Even when I dey carry my mama come, na so e dey be. Then secondly, silence is golden. Know when to, not everything I know some people that are always in a haste to answer. It's not good. As a professional, you should know how to tame your emotions and your thoughts and your, if not everything that comes to your mind that you want to say just because you feel you must talk. Some people have
Yeah.
that attitude and it's very bad. It will always put you in trouble. Not every comment requires an answer. Somebody
Yeah.
can say something as little as thank you, no vex. There are some patients that sense silence as insult to their personality. I used to practice silence all the time, but I discovered there are some patients you can't be silent to. There was somebody that was just shouting and shouting, and I was like, see the idiot why they even talk to, they keep me quiet. Your head, your father. You get, so in those kind of patients, where you find yourself, please, please, and please try your best to be the best version of yourself, both as a patient and as a professional. As a patient, understand that for us to take those time to do what we are doing for you, because we care about you. There's no person that will just come to you, or no doctor or no nurse. I will just come to return to for no reason. And as a health professional too, know that there is no patient that will know you from home. They don't know you. Some people might have that notion, but I don't want to believe there is any normal patient that will just leave his house and say, today, I want to go and frustrate one pharmacist. That's my intention. If I don't do it, it won't be happening. So you should try to understand their plight. They are human beings and they go through a lot. Make life easy for them as much as possible. There's nothing that will take you when somebody comes to your desk and is the wrong desk. Tell the person, Madam, no be here, you're supposed to come. Do the right thing. I leave my desk sometimes to go and escort people and direct them to the right unit. So that's it. Thank
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Hope. Thank you very much, Mrs. Choma. We appreciate your presence today and thank you very much, our audience. This is the Health Show. If you are not yet subscribed, kindly do so. We have amazing contents for you every Sunday by 7 p.m. And we also have our videos and release on Wednesdays and on Fridays. Thank you for joining us